Greetings, conscious breathers, infinite beings alike, breath family. Hola, ¿cómo estás? All right, so we're going to tap in a much needed discussion more than ever as times are getting, times are just shifting. That's the best way to describe it. Times are shifting. So if you're a carnivore, if you're a vegan, if you're fastarian, if you're if you're anything on the human spectrum, I encourage you to tap in. So let's hop into it. What's up? Let's hop into it. So obviously there's so much war. We're always going to see this where we see the carnivore side, the vegan side, this side, that side. My thing is, if you're on the holistic side, you know how much of a win, no matter how you look at it, it is versus synthetic side in terms of, you can fill in the blanks because I'm not saying it outright, but synthetics. And let's not stop there. You know, it's a lot better, you know, and to even break it up and hit it straight in the face. You can take the worst meat known to man, the worst meat, a McDonald's burger, and put it on a scaler, put it on something like the live stream, and pump 528 hertz in there. It'll be the most healthiest meat that person could eat in general versus anything else at that point, especially in these times, right? So I wanted to come out and hit that straight in the face, because this holistic war, that's what it is. It's a holistic war where you see the carnivores and the vegans, and the carnivores said that our tribes ate like this, but I can find another tribe that survived in the Himalayas in worse conditions for over 5,000 years on a plant-based diet. So, I mean, it's just an endless cycle of going honestly nowhere, in my humble opinion. So my thing is, why not just focus on the benefits rather than wasting energy on degrading after degrading. All that energy could be used for upgrading. Because if you're a holistic coach or anything on that spectrum, you are doing a service, not just for one person, but you're doing a service to a whole family. Because it only takes one, and that ripples into the family. It doesn't just end at that one person. It ripples into the family. That, you know, you could be a living example and take the ignorance within certain families, certain generational curses that has rotten and hindered potential of that family to grow in general. You could be that one example that finally breaks the chain and everyone finally sees it with their own two eyes, and they can't negate it, right? Stop the war. That's my main point. Is this an endless war? Just what's the point? What's the point? I'd rather hear someone go off the list of benefits. That way, if, you know, when I work with certain clients that don't want to give up meat and they want to go on a particular diet or lifestyle, no matter how you look at it, or I like to say live it, then there's certain options of how they should deal with the way they live and where they get their produce, so forth and so on. You know, charging up their water, charging up their food in general. You know, it just doesn't end at, we look at the carnivores and we say this, well, look what's happening to the soil. The soil is getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker as the years go by. So it's going to be like 3 apples is going to equal 1 apple. That's how that's how weak the soil is becoming. It's not a food problem, it's a soil problem. And actually all of this, many of this can be solved with scalar. Many of this can be solved with prayer meditations on certain lands and farms. There's actually a farm, I think it's called Agua Carte here in Miami, that they host meditations, they host yoga, but beyond that, they even host all different types of spiritual, however you want to describe it, to come to the land and host events and stuff. You know what that does to the land, low key? It doesn't raise the vibration. It allows the alignment of certain frequencies and energetic resonance for the earth to say, yes, this is what I'm about, and starts producing more healthier land. I feel like Miami, out of most of the world, because the land here is actually all limestone, mostly limestone. It's all limestone. That's why the water feels the way it does. That's why the soil is rich the way it is. And we're not too far from the Bermuda Triangle. Jeez. I remember the first day we went out to the park and the clouds were not moving for hours. We were there for hours. Our first time and I'm like, and it just hit me. I'm like, oh, the Bermuda Triangle's right there. And it hit me. I'm like, oh, we're close to, you can say, a ley line, energetic magnetic interference with what the Bermuda Triangle does. So many interesting research into that. Some people say it's a portal in there. Depends on how you define portal, but that's another story. So I want to stay on topic here, the holistic war. And that doesn't end there. Some people may say, oh, go out to nature, this and that. Nature is around you. What is that? What's that chair made out of? That chair is made out of wood. That chair is made out of, it all goes back into the awareness of consciousness. A lot of people like to put themselves on high pedestals saying that, oh, I live closer to nature, this and that. Nature don't end out there. I mean, all certain materials around you has certain energetic resonance, and calligraphy photography has proved that. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, I'm against tearing down trees and stuff of that nature. Shoot, I'm against burning down trees. That's probably the worst. It's so funny how you can look at people who say the carnivore lifestyle that lives in nature will say that, oh, look what the city is doing, this and that. It's okay to eat meat because it's like a natural process in a sense. They want to be used in a sense. You could say the same exact thing for trees. They want to be used, right? They want to be recycled. It's the same thing. It's just a non-stop back and forth, back and forth. And like I said, for those that are just joining, you can take the worst meat known to man and put it on a scaler, pump 528 hertz, and use all the other devices out there that does frequency therapies, and pump the healthiest frequencies into that meat. That meat is probably the healthiest, even more healthy than the spinach that's probably the worst greens to honestly eat. Because I can go over that, the toxicity in spinach. Arugula, if you're going to go for greens, go for the arugula, go for the sprouts. That's A1 there. So that's what I mean. It's all a frequency game. At the end of the day, it's mainly a frequency game, right? And I feel like our ancestors definitely got to that point of understanding that in terms of frequency game. Why are archaeologists are digging up UFOs older than the pyramids themselves, UFOs that are older than ancient buildings and sculptures that's dated in a sense? Why are they digging up that just now? And what does that tell us about our ancestry? Shoot, if they're using UFOs back then and people want to say, oh, our ancestors were like this, tribal, this and that, I mean, I don't think it's that black and white, sir, or her. It's not that black and white. And it goes into the sense of the awareness of the connection and understanding that nature is all around you, no matter how you look. You may look at this metal and be like, oh, that's not a part of nature. Where do you think the metals come from? The earth. The metals that I'm wearing comes from the earth. They came out of thin air. Like, where else did they come from? They're not synthetic. If you really think about it, they're actually pretty natural. They're metals, straight from the earth, born from the earth. Oh shoot! Whoa, cars. Oh, hello, cars. Technically, cars came from the earth, right? Now, it all goes into the sense: how are we using these technologies from Earth? It all goes back to you. You can say our tribes did this, our tribes did that. That won't stop a person from, doing some monstrous things with what they have. That won't stop them. You can say this and that. That won't stop them. So at the end of the day, where does it really boil down to? The individual's intention, their heart, their soul, their expression of life. It doesn't end with what they eat. It doesn't end with where they live. It ends and it begins at the person making those conscious actions, whether they deem them as unconscious or not. They are playing their role. Hey, right back to you, lols. We advance civilization. I like to say we're advanced humans beyond the civilization aspect. And here's the thing, if you grow your own food, that's totally different from what I'm talking about, the spinach. See, that's another factor. Growing your own stuff. Right back to you. All right, I'm reading some captions here. Same with Michigan. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Thank you for the badge, love, DJ Cuco. By the way, any badges I get is going towards the inner city youth in Philadelphia. We're starting in Philadelphia first. And by the way, I just heard that Philadelphia is pushing out the mandates all over again. So specifically, I think it's specifically Philly. So, here we go again, question mark. And I feel like it's great timing to donate some frequency breathers to those kids out there. Can't wait for your book. I have an intermediate book coming out. Not going to talk too much about it, but it's going to be pretty good. Like electric cars are said to be sustainable, yet the lithium harvested is slave labor. Mining earth is not sustainable. Exactly. You know what's really sustainable? A lot of people don't talk about. A lot of people think that nuclear energy is bad, right? Not entirely true. And I'm not even going to dive into the conspiracies that say that there was no atomic bomb and they faked this and that. I'm not even going to dive into that. What I will dive into is the fact that nuclear is not all bad for the environment. Actually, it's more safe. I'm not even going to say more safe, but it's not as bad as you think it is. Nuclear is actually even more sustainable for the earth in a sense. And think about it. If you have a nuclear powered car that you don't have to charge, you don't have to put fuel in, you don't have to do as much maintenance as we're doing on all these other cars, not even reusing, but just wasting certain materials over and over and over again for what? Capitalism all over again, just wasting instead of a progressive. I truly believe in progressive capitalism, more in the sense that why are we not building things that either help the environment to the max capacity, to the point where, that's why things like teleportation devices, when we get to that point, if we get to that point, we won't really need cars at that point, right? You use other things for other use cases beyond that, and that takes away the whole emissions as a whole, because you won't really need to produce cars. You just zoom in here, you zoom out there, you go here, just like that. Can you please put together a retreat for the summer? We don't call it retreat, we call it breath ascension. And that is actually coming in September. If you're interested, DM me. I'll share the dates. A few people already DM me, which is... so we already have a few spots taken already. So if you're really interested in coming here in Miami and experiencing some things I've yet to show publicly, and things I obviously can't show publicly, DM me. And check out the testimonials from the people who came last time, who had a wonderful time and utilizing what they learned in breath ascension in their daily lives and using that to grow. And having fun with certain frequency devices, but more so themselves and each other's company in a space where we just cultivate the breath in a whole nother manner. You already know. So Kimspiration says, the fact that we have nucleus within, nuclear certainly isn't all that bad. Yeah. And that's all I'm going to say to that, because I do know a person who has even built a nuclear car. I know a person who's built a hydrogen car. Nuclear is not... You see what they did here. And they're actually remaking, and I think it's been over 20 years, but they're now remaking nuclear devices as we speak. Certain governmental spaces in the U.S. is remaking them now. All of a sudden, if it was that bad, why are we remaking them now? I think they're slowly going to roll that out into the public. Maybe we'll see. But nuclear is not as bad as they say it is. Now we look at Hiroshima and the other nuclear bombs, but all of a sudden, they use that as a scapegoat when in actuality it was more than nuclear. But again, I'm not saying this and that. I don't want to dive into conspiracies. What's the point? I just want to go over the fact that nuclear is not all that bad, and there's so many healthy use cases for it. I'm sure you guys seen enough videos of Teslas blowing up, right? Did you know when they did test runs for nuclear cars, they didn't blow up like that. They did not blow up like that. And it goes back to the you factor, right? How are you utilizing these technologies? It's not the technology is utilizing you, it's you utilizing the technology. Going back to even what I said about psychedelics, it's not the psychedelics that's giving you the experience. At the end of the day, it always comes back to you, right? You're the one that is experiencing you in a nutshell, because you decided to take the psychedelics. So beyond what we're looking at, the physical, in terms of the actions and the experience in that sense, it always dials back into who started that rippling effect. You are experiencing yourself with another fractal, another fractal, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And like I said, the holistic war. If you're carnivore, just say the benefits. If you're vegan, just say the benefits. If you're a biophotarian, just say the benefits. If you're a breatharian, just say the benefits. If you're a solitarian, just say the benefits. And the list goes on. Saying this and that is bad. In a sense, you're saying you yourself is bad. Because like I said, it stems from you, right? It always stems back to you. So like I said, you can take the dirtiest meat known to man, put it on a scaler, put on a frequency device, pump 528 hertz in there, and then eat it. That'll be the most healthiest meat you've ever had. You can do the same thing with plants, of course, yes. But I'm just making a point because the whole mainstream thing and this and that people saying that this and that's bad, this and that's bad. What is bad is, like, who is making your food? Is you making the food, where it comes from, this, that, how it's delivered, all these different factors. That in itself, that's a whole set of frequencies in itself. A whole set. And that's what you're truly eating beyond the physical thing that you get. When was the last time you actually prayed to your food? When was the last time you actually gave gratitude for just having anything that you've experienced in the now? Whether that you be digesting it via mouth or digesting it via song. Did you at least comment on that person that you listened to in the song? Be like, hey, thank you for making this song. When was the last time you did that? And I don't care how old the song is. The person just uploading it, that's a task. Did you at least say thank you for that? It's this type of awareness that a lot of people get one-track minded, especially when they say that, oh, I live in the hills and I hunt like my ancestor, this and that, right? And then we have the other side saying that, oh, I eat base plants and I'm this and that, and that is bad. And the other side saying that's bad. But in hindsight, what's really happening here? What's really happening here? Are we focusing on, always goes back to that energy budget, right? Are we focusing on wasting, saying that, oh no, that's bad, right? The healthiest way of helping anyone, become and make themselves pick healthier choices is always going over the benefits than the cons. Because you can, any holistic, whether that be, you can tell me carnivore, you can tell me plant-based, any holistic practice outweighs Western medication practices. You can give me a whole list and I can give you a whole list, but I'll give you a whole list with side effects. If you get my point here, right? So I think it's so important to preach. If you're a coach out there, anything out there, is preach the benefits after the benefits after the benefits after the benefits. There is no point, in my humble opinion, and seeing transformations I've seen. It's just like you can eat you can eat the healthiest diet or have the healthiest lifestyle, but if you're not breathing right and you have all these emotions tying down in your mind, because your mind is a filter, right? You can eat all blah blah blah, blah fill your system till it can only read so much anyway, and your mind is off. Your mind is off with either emotional traumas, emotional attachments, you name it, and still develop, quote unquote, dis-ease. Because now we're finally seeing studies that are saying that, wait a minute, I know you're having pain here, but it's actually coming from your spine. Oh, I know you're having pain in your ears, but no, it's actually coming from your neck. Oh, you had a trauma where you were strangled. Oh, and that is sending receptors into the brain, rewiring, causing misfiring at certain parts. Oh, for you to feel that pain. Oh, Just like I said, the more you can feel, the more you can heal. And I see it all the time. The deeper someone connects with their breath, the more they can feel more of their bodies, and they can say, oh, wait, it's not actually here. It's simply people with nerve damage. I see it all the time. Oh, it's not actually here. The pain is actually coming from specifically here. Oh, my God. Things are not black and white. We live in a whole array of different colors, and it's time we honor our multidimensionality. We honor the fact that everything's alive at a certain point. Well, everything is technically living. Everything has contrast, right? Nothing is truly physical. Thus, no matter even if you perceive it as dead, there are certain enzymes, there are certain microbials still in that flesh, in that plant. They're still there. Now, the soul, the essence, has probably departed and went somewhere else. Transmuted is the right word. Transmuted into something else. And that's my way of being esoteric in a sense, and bringing everyone to the focal point of common sense and just finally expressing that. So, anything else? Everything everywhere is relevant. Aho. Kim says, side effects, adverse reactions, and contradictions. Aho, you know it. If you guys have, because a lot of people have been bugging me, and it's finally out, Breath Tao 5. It is out. It is an audio book with subliminal breathwork music. There is subliminal live stream. You'll hear it in there, and you can feel it as I'm reading the Breath Tao. There's breath affirmations also in there as well. Infinite love. I am electrically, expansively well. Thank you for asking. Can you post this live? I will, for sure. Saw the request to join and that person disappeared. I don't know what happened. But anything I miss? Indeed. I stay at the center of the circle. Cater says, I play my sound bowl to my food. Aho. More practices like that. Someone goes, do you recommend urine therapy on any diet? Mr. Tutu Nobody. Well, look at it like this. Your saliva has urea in there. Go look it up. Everyone does urine therapy. When you're a baby, in the mother's fluid, you pee, it goes into amniotic fluid, you drink it. You pee, goes back into amniotic fluid, you drink it, and it goes on and on and on. So it doesn't matter what your mom was eating, right? It didn't really matter. You're still doing what you were doing because that's a natural part of your progress into this world. So I hope that answers your question. Breath Tao 3 is my favorite, says B3. Yeah, so if you guys haven't seen Breath Tao 1 through 4, they're all on my YouTube. Yeah, check it out. So if you guys got any value out of this, please share it. And definitely check out Breath Tao 5. Did I go over anything else? Breath Family, we are week number 8. This girl is clicking with it. She was on point. I was like, that is literally what mental breath work is hitting. Man. Yeah, and then after mental breath work, we're going into breathing in the sun, which will be a very long course. it's going to be a course. It's going to be a course in itself. But that's in Breath Family. And something to note, Breath Family is a monthly price, or you can pay yearly, and you get hundreds and hundreds of resources to use. But not only that, we do live classes together as well, and the list goes on. So much value for literally. So appreciation value. Much love to you, Kim. Hey, Journey to Resilience. Hey, sister. Yeah, so quick synopsis to end it off. We were talking about the holistic war, why we shouldn't be warring with ourselves, basically. If you want to say this race, or white on white crime, or black on black crime, more on more crime, what about the holistic on holistic crime on each other? Because that's what it is at this point. I mean, shoot, I'm hearing this point, I'm hearing that point on that side. And it's like everyone in a way is like talking to a brick wall. They really are. They really are. It's not ideal. I mean, the ideal thing is saying your benefits, great. You have the other benefits, great. That's great. That's great. Now, Western medicine that has so many other side effects, I don't know about that one. We should come together, holistic family, and just show everyone the awareness of you don't have to suffer taking Western medicine. You have all these options to experience from, because that's what it is. It's literally suffering, because it's synthetic. It's not, you can say organic or harmonious to the body. You can tensor charge or scalar charge any food and make it have ormus. There's no difference. It's all about the frequency. Exactly. Yeah, I was talking about that earlier, Brother Gaia. I don't know if you were here, but I was telling them, yeah, you can take a McDonald's burger. I don't suggest this, but take a McDonald's burger, put it on a scalar plate, put some tensorings on it, and blast 528 hertz in there. Put a scalar body into the burger, and it'll be the healthiest burger you ever have, because in reality you're eating frequencies. That's honestly all it is. You are all eating different densities of frequencies. That's what it is. Yeah, that's my main point. That's all I want to end it with, because again, it's just an endless cycle of honestly going nowhere. Because back then, you didn't really see villages going to other villages and be like, hey, you Himalayas been here for 5,000 years, eating plant-based, blah, blah, blah. And the worst terrain, by the way, and somehow you all are thriving. But what about us? Look how we live, this and that. Like, come on. That didn't happen. It's just the fact that we have social media and we're just being unreal with ourselves, honestly. If we're all looking in the mirror, we're just being unreal. Yeah, that never happened. Tribes going to other tribes, saying what's wrong with the tribe. I mean, that's different when this isn't a Genghis Khan situation here. Genghis Khan is going to different. You know what's very interesting about Genghis Khan, real quick, and you can look into, I think it's called Marco Polo. I might be wrong, but the main thing that Genghis Khan did was he kept every spiritual master from every village he quote unquote conquered. Every spiritual master. He had a blind kung fu master teach his kids this is how you gain your freedom, blah, blah, blah. Right? It was somewhat smart, but at least he was honoring every, he could care less about the politics and all that stuff. Because you're coming into a place and you're conquering it, right? So what's left is the humanity part, and what else is part of the humanity is the inner work, the spirituality aspect of it, if you want to take it there. But everything is spiritual. Even diving into that, right? Going back to the inanimate object, people say, Mother Earth this, yes. Mother Earth, yes. But let's not be unreal with ourselves. Where do you think the metals come from? Earth. You driving that car, preaching about pro-Earth. Yeah, pro-Earth. Where do you think the metals came from? Earth. And I can go on and on and on and on. But like I said, we should be developing technologies that is more harmonious to the earth, just like of old time, just like in Ethiopia with the priests showing some of their technologies, like the Tibetan monks, where they have the horn. And I feel like it's not just they did sound acoustics. They had, there's places, specifically the Ethiopian one, where you can tell certain crystals went into parts of that trumpet. So I feel like either it was charging when they were, going ham on it, and then it levitated and did what it did. And there's so many other factors. But one of the main reasons why I think some of these artifacts and materials were either never found or just decayed is because they were organic. And what do I mean by organic? They were made in harmonious resonance with the earth, and they just naturally decayed. There's have been findings where they only found like half staffs and things like that because they were decaying naturally. They were made in a natural, harmonious way. So when you see UFOs being dug up, that's older than most likely the pyramids and the Sphinx, and older than certain parts in the Grand Canyon, it just makes you wonder. It's like, damn, we were working with gravity back then. We were working with, what else don't we know? We don't know a lot. Everything that's out there, you think you know, but honestly, you don't know. We don't know. There is nothing, and that's not the earth. That's what someone said. Yeah, the 100th monkey syndrome. Exactly. I'll hold to that. Someone goes Saturn, indeed. Horus, the only one in the sky. The Horus is very interesting. The Horus is found in the pineal gland, right? So in the live stream generator, it's actually using the Horus, which is also very interesting. So when technicians open it, everyone's going to be like, it just doesn't make any sense of how it works. It's very interesting though, but that's how they do it.